Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today we're going to chat about my press, this press right here. So I get asked all the time, both in live streams and basically just all the time. Anybody who comes out to my shop, anybody who knows me personally at SOFA, the club I belong to, or just a lot of different places. I get emails about it all the time and things like this. A lot of people have asked, and I've done a lot of videos on both power hammers and presses and kind of my ideology and my concepts about them, and I just want to have a real quick talk this morning about presses and really their pros and cons and their uses specifically. So I'm honing in on my press and my experience with other presses that I have used. So the big pros to presses are the fact that they can take and manipulate material, large chunks of material, very, very quickly, and they're very efficient at that. They can push and squeeze and things like that. That is the major advantage to a press. They're not so great on fine finish detail, like finesse-y type work. They don't develop any kinetic energy. You know, there's no hammer blow there. There's no thumping, so to speak, like as of what you would get with a power hammer or a hand hammer. Okay, it is a pressure. Okay, and so that amount of squeezing, it works and lends itself very nicely to a lot of operations that you need to move a large mass of material readily, quickly. Okay. Now, the main downside to a press is they are slow. They're usually slow running. They're dictated. They're kind of complex when it comes to that. A well-built press will have a fairly fast ram speed, but you kind of sacrifice that fast action ram speed when you go up in tonnage as well. Usually the lighter presses, or at least from my own experiences differ. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've had the same experience. Usually as the tonnage goes up, the press slows down. It's slowing down. And the reason for that being is the cylinders are usually larger. You have to fill those cylinders with more fluid. And so therefore, people put about the same standard pump that they would put on like a log splitter or something like that. And it's just not enough to push that press ram fast. It's not fast acting. Smaller presses, smaller diameters, bores, and cylinders, the faster that ram can run because the fluid can get in and out of the cylinder quicker. That's just a little bit on hydronics there, on hydraulics, just scaving the surface. And please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. If you work in the hydraulic industry, like on tractors, backhoes, things of that nature, or you're always working with hydraulics, let me know in the comment section down below, and just kind of help the community out there if you can. But this has basically been my experience with presses. So the other upside to presses, is the fact that you can do die work. You can do closed die work really efficiently with them. You can even do open die work. You can press things into hot metal and make different shapes and elaborate on different stuff. And they're really great. I mean, they're really great at doing a lot of different work. Controllable, repeatable results. So say you need to put the offset in a pair of tongs, and you already forged out the front bit and you just needed to offset the reins ever so much, right? Like, you could build a die that goes in the press that, heck, you could probably press it over cold. But you put it in there hot and go, and it's done. That's it, right? Like, and so it just makes a little squeak, done deal, right? The whole thing's done. That is a very nice feature of a press. And again, highly controllable, and that's a great operation for it. The downside to a press is you are limited to dies. Too many people assume presses are just big squishy things. That's all they do. Power hammers are just big mashy things, and that is incorrect. That is an incorrect philosophy for power hammers and presses in general. For anybody who does real serious work on a press or a power hammer, that are making products or of any kind, whether they're tooling for other smiths, tooling for other industries, or they're making actual artistic projects off of them, the press and the power hammer both are only as good as the dies that you put in them. That's it. So that's a con. It's a con for both. Basically, it's a con for both. If you need to put a taper, you have to put tapered blocks in your press if you want to get a nice clean taper. Otherwise, there's no place for it to, again, it only knows to go up and down, up and down. It can't hit at a tangent like a striker could, okay? It can't hit at tangents. Neither can a power hammer. So therefore, you have to take and make some dies and some specialty dies for certain operations. This is both advantageous to some and not so much to others. Now this video is going on fairly long here. I'm already over the 5-minute mark. Just stick with me if you will. I'll try to wrap this up. I'm trying to be as thorough and as conclusive as I can. This press design that I have here, it presses up from the bottom, okay? So it presses from, the ram is underneath, and it presses up from the bottom. I did this because I wanted to save on height. I wanted the whole thing to be down a lot shorter. And the second reason why I did this is this originally started its life as a very weak and underbuilt C-frame press, and I had a horrible experience with that. I actually had the ram come off and blow off and hit me on the shoulder, and very dangerous. And so I decided it was safer to put it down low, plus I could whack the I-beam I had in half and basically create this H-frame press here. So it was kind of money savings is why I chose this design. Now, H-frame presses, that's what this is here, or closed-in presses, are typically a lot sturdier and stronger of presses than the presses like a C-frame press, okay? And the reason why is because all presses to some degree or another will have some flex to them. They will flex somewhat. And on a C-frame press, there's nothing to counteract that flexing on the backside. It's just however strong the the upright is. If it's a big, heavy, thick I-beam, it will still flex ever so much. And what your does is your dies come down and they flex like this if they get overloaded, okay? A lot of engineering can go into them to stop a lot of that motion, but it still does it. With an H-frame press, you don't get so much of that squeezing this way, but if you don't design them right, like this one was not designed right, you can get racking to the left and the right. That brings me to, again, the downside to some of the presses and things is because of the pressure that's being exerted, you can get some racking going to the left and the right, or front and back, if you will, on presses. As where with power hammers, you don't see that nearly as much until you start wearing out like the guides or the gibs, if you will. Once you start wearing that out on a power hammer, then you'll start seeing some racking to the left or the right. But otherwise, the effect is very minimal because it's not putting in as much pressure or force at any individual time. So there's some slop with the springs and stuff. So this design, it's a great design, but it needs 2 cylinders here. It needs 2 cylinders here. And if you notice here, here's my wiring. I've actually pulled all the wiring and I have decommissioned this press. Reason for it being is there are some parts on here where I'm noticing that they're starting to get out of tolerance. They're getting out of tolerance. The press is able to go like this. It's got a lot of slop in it. And what that tells me is that there are some mechanical failures, some structural failures that are about to happen in this press. And I'm walking away from it before I get hurt. I'm a big fan of saying that power hammers will maim you, a press will kill you. It will kill you. You're dealing with thousands upon thousands of pounds of pressure, hundreds of thousands of pounds of pressure, and it doesn't take that much. It takes about 4 to 6 psi to puncture your skin. So just think about 100,000 psi going through you. Like nothing, like butter, right? So you got to be real. You got to be real careful when you are working with presses, and you need to be knowledgeable. If you want to build your own press, you need to be knowledgeable somewhat about hydraulics, and I recommend for you to do not as I have done. Don't build your own. Talk with somebody. Go take a class with them, because they really are that dangerous, and they can become a widowmaker in your shop real quick. Brings me to one of my last points that I want to say about presses or any power tooling. If you are just getting into this craft and you are physically able to swing a hammer at an anvil, you need to do that first. You need to focus on your fundamentals and your basics. Once you get that out of the way and you understand your fundamentals and your basics, and you understand how the material works, how it flows, the do's and the don'ts, the hammer form, all those things, then it is okay to start upgrading to power equipment. It's okay to then start running up to power equipment. I see too many new smiths start sweating for the day and say, oh, this is ridiculous, I need to make a press. Oh man, this is hard, I need to make a power hammer. And the problem with that is, if you don't have a good understanding in your fundamentals and in your basics of smithing, how are you going to know what ties to make for that power hammer, that press? You can only look and watch and see what other people have done, and then you make that too. But again, if you don't understand the principles behind it, maybe you build that power hammer or that press too weak. Okay, and that's what I did when I originally made this press. I built it way too weak. I had a cracked shoulder here, cracked collarbone, and big swollen up and everything. For I don't even know. I don't even start me the line, but it come down, cracked me right across the cylinder did, because I just didn't have enough information about welding, good welding practices. I didn't have enough information yet. I wasn't very skilled at those things when I decided I was going to build this press, because I just absolutely needed a press, right? Because it was the grand scheme. It was the granddaddy of all things to get. It is not. So settle down. Blacksmithing is going to be around in another 100 years. It's still going to be here probably 1,000 years from now. Who knows what we'll be doing by then? Who knows what type of tools and techniques will be available? Chances are it'll be like the last 1,000 years. So it's not going anywhere. You have time. Give yourself some time to get familiarized with every piece of equipment. Go out and run some other presses before you ever decide to build one. Decide on, by taking a class with somebody or going and working in somebody's workshop that has a press or that has a power hammer, and then try on a whole bunch of different fits, right? Try on a bunch of different shoes before you make that purchasing decision or that building decision that you may otherwise regret at a later date. So I think that's a great way of summing up this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. Let me know what you think about power hammers and presses in the comment section down below. That is always fun to hear everybody's opinions. There's some wild ones out there and a few crazy ones, so I'm sure we'll get those in this comment section. So make sure you check back. Comment section can be a real colorful place to be. If this is your first time with the channel, thank you for being here. We put out new videos every single day, 7 days a week. They're on schedule and things of that nature. If you want some designs for power hammers, although I do not have any plans or drawings, I should say, on presses just yet, as I'm going to have them properly engineered by a mechanical engineer. Although I don't have that yet, I do have a lot on power hammers, and you can find those at ChristCenteredIronworks.com or BlacksmithPDFs.com. You'll find the links to that down in the description, along with a whole host of other resource links and things like that, that not only go to help support the channel, but is out there to take and help you as the smith. So, without further ado, I'm going to get back to the forge. God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching.